G'day, Year 11. Just one last little look at evaluating. This was the second thing that perhaps wasn't done quite as well on the draft. So in the evaluation, you've got to use two business criteria. You've got to make and justify two decisions, and you've got to make recommendations. That's what we're looking for. So let's have a look at one way that we might go about doing this. We've got to choose two of the business criteria, and my bias is always towards competitiveness and efficiency because I think they are a little simpler. If you go to effectiveness, effectiveness is about how well something meets an organisational goal. Well, then you've got to talk about the organisational goal as well. So that's a little bit harder. Stakeholder satisfaction, how well does the strategy meet the needs of stakeholders? That's important, but then you've got to define who the stakeholders are. So it's like a second step in each of those. So I tend to lean towards competitiveness. How well does the strategy compare to other offerings, competitors in the marketplace, and efficiency? How well does the strategy use resources? So once you've chosen your two criteria, then you've got to use them to evaluate an existing and proposed marketing strategy and an existing and proposed operations strategy. So operations is around how the business takes the inputs, the processes that it uses to then go the outputs. And so some of the things around operations management in food and drink will be things around delivery services, how food is prepared, the technology in that process of creating food. So let's have a little look at what we're thinking here. So we'd start, okay, here's your existing strategy, your proposed strategy, your two criteria. I like a really clear statement. This strategy has a high, moderate, low level of competitiveness. Same thing as the new one. So we're really clear about what we're saying, and then we give some reasons for it. At the end, we'd say the first decision. So the best marketing strategy to adopt is, and this is because that's your justification. So that's the steps I will be doing to do those first two things. And let's have a look at an example of this with Qantas. So let's look at marketing. So we're comparing their current strategy, which is their frequent flyer program, with a new strategy, a rebranding of Qantas. So I've said competitiveness and efficiency, even though I've written competitiveness and efficiency. And I've been really clear that this is highly competitive, the frequent flyers, and I've explained why. Highly efficient for their frequent flyers. The rebranding, I've said, is only moderately competitive because it's still a pretty well-known brand. We've got some data in there about that. And moderately efficient because it's going to take more resources. Efficiency is about resources. And so this leads to the decision to focus on the frequent flyer program, this program, and then I've explained why I've gone with that. Same thing if we're looking at this as an example for operations management for Qantas. So we've got the current operations strategy, which is the Operation Sunrise, the long distance flights that they're working on. And I've said a premium economy domestic service because there seems to be a lot of interest in that as a service. And so we've compared which is competitive, which is efficient, and leads to decision. So that already means that we've used our criteria, we've compared, we've explained why, and we've led to a decision. And at any stage, you can just pause and have a look in more detail about what I've written. The last thing we've got to do is make recommendations. And that's about how we're going to implement what we've talked about. What are we actually going to expect the business to do? So we've now recommended that Qantas continue its research programs around ultra long distance. So how they're going to implement it, they're going to have to do some more research so that they have got not just planes that are able to fly longer distances, they've got really thoughtful service that's built around that. Then Qantas used those recent changes. So Virgin had changed ownership recently. Rex is under pressure. Bonza has failed. And so there's a chance to build some real marketing messages around quality, popularity, and stability of their rewards program. And so there would be a couple of recommendations. And so those things there would meet the criteria that we need for evaluation because we've compared two strategies twice for operations and marketing, similar to what you've got to do for yours. We've made decisions on both and explained why our decision is, and we've come to a recommendation at the end.